Welcome to Rock Your Talk. I'm Leisa Reid, founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, speaker and trainer at Productive Learning. I am so excited to bring another expert today, Doug Walls. He's going to be talking about how to capture leads through texting. How cool is that? So if you're not using texting to capture your leads, you are in for a treat. He's going to share some really cool stuff. Hello, Doug, all the way from Florida.
Hey, Lisa.
We're coast
How are
to
you
coast.
today?
I'm great.
Yes, exactly.
We're California and Florida, so it's super cool.
That's right.
Yeah. Great. A little bit about our show, Rock Your Talk. We bring experts in. We get 3 really juicy, yummy tips so that you can learn about all different kinds of things to grow your business, to grow yourself personally, to just protect yourself from who knows what's going to happen. And so just subscribe, tune in. We have a couple of gifts for our listeners. As the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, I encourage you to go to GetSpeakingGigsNow.com. Grab your 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs. That's what I've used to book over 500, yes, 500 and counting, speaking engagements. So make sure and grab those tips. I'm also a speaker and trainer at Productive Learning, where we believe in really teaching people how to do that facilitated self-discovery. How do you start changing your thinking? We know it's a good idea, but how do we do that? And so you get access to a free course that we developed called New Thinking for New Actions. And you can access that course at productivelearning.com/gift. So those are a couple of treats that you can put right in your pocket today. Meanwhile, let's get back to our guest, Doug. And I want to hear about how I can capture more leads through texting. Doug, tell us a little bit about yourself before you share us your tips. Tell us about you?
Sure. So my name's Doug Walls. My company's called Text Me Leads, and I currently live in Sebring, Florida.
Beautiful.
And my kids actually live about 15 minutes from you in San Clemente.
I know. Yeah, because we met in California. You used to live out here, right?
I did.
I think I met right when you were transitioning to living out there, and you were kind of back and forth a little bit. So glad to see you're all settled. And how did you start Text Me Leads? Like, how did you start thinking that was a good idea and that was a needed thing in the marketplace?
All right. So it's a really long story, but the short version of that is I got tired of sitting in seminars and people raising their hand, asking the speaker for their slide deck. And the speaker would never have a response to them and would have a deer in the headlights look of, can we put something like that together and email, just drop your business card off on the edge of the stage. Okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're literally asking for your information and you don't have that available. So I kept hearing it and I saw different iterations of that. And so we came up with Text Me Leads.
Plus, then there's all that work, right? So let's say people put those little cards on the edge of the stage or someone collects them, but then those cards need to make it back somewhere and make it to somebody's computer, and someone's going to be typing all that in and then sending stuff out. And it's actually quite a long process. So you've really shrunk that for people. It is.
And two things are happening at that one point. One, you just created an extra workload for somebody else on your team, if not yourself.
So that's costing money.
Exactly. And 2, by the time that person gets back home, or possibly sometimes even leaves your seminar room, they're really not interested in your information anymore. Because they're off to the next shiny thing, unfortunately.
Exactly. They went on to the next meeting, to the next speaker, to the next whatever. They got back to work and they were inundated because they were busy at that event, right? Yeah. Right. So the lead is cold and it's cost you money and you missed the money right there.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to hear your tips. I know you're talking about 3 tips to capture your leads through texting. So what do you want to share with us first?
So Lisa, the first one that I want to discuss with you is lead capture versus lead pursuit. Okay. So one thing that we have focused on for years is that lead capture of bringing leads in through your cell phone from the stage with an audience, whether it's virtual or a live audience, right? So that lead's now coming in. What do you do with it? Are you going to treat all those leads in your phone just like you treat that stack of business cards on your desk? And I'll get to them next week, or I'll get to it, and now they become colder and colder every hour and every day that goes by. we build in a automated follow-up system, one, to follow up with that lead, let them know who you are, get them some information, get them something that is of high value to them, where they're willing to give up their email address and name. And now the pursuit aspect of it is to draw them back into other platforms. You've taken them from one podcast, bring them into your newsletter, bring them into your social media, and get them onto your page so that you can sell them a product. Okay, monologue with a podcast. Right now, I mean, that's actually number two. The second tip that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Is when you have a podcast, it typically can be more of a monologue than a two-way conversation. In fact, almost always it's a monologue as opposed to a two-way conversation. I know people that have had hundreds of thousands of downloads per month on their podcasts, very successful podcasts, but they don't know one person on that list that's listening to their information. You've got a loyal listener out there who listens to your information week after week, month after month, and you have no way to market to them until they click a link or do something, when all you need to do in the moment when you've got a hot topic that you're talking about is simply say, hey, grab your phone, start a new text message, and send, for example, TML would be my keyword that I use to 55678. That gives a podcaster a call to action for themselves and or their guests on that show. I literally was listening to a podcast this morning, and it was all about lead generation and follow-up and funnels and whatnot. And both of these gentlemen were highly successful. And at the end, it was, so John, let's call him John, how can people get a hold of you? Oh gosh, well, I'm all over the place. There's LinkedIn and he rattled off all of his contacts. And it's like, I don't remember one of them now.
Yeah.
A single call to action, getting them to a page that you can click on, whatever social media site that you prefer to engage with people on. One call to action to your audience. They can connect with you any way that they prefer. And now you're starting that two-way engagement.
Okay. So it sounds like when you were talking about, the first tip is about differentiating between capturing and pursuing. And there's a strategy behind that. It's like, first you need to actually capture it and make it easy for you to capture the leads. And I would say, like, update our, like, pass me a business card and I'll go type it in, or put you into, manually put something in somewhere. You're saying, like, no, let's make it easier on you. And so then once you've captured it, it sounds like then you have a system to where now you can pursue it in the sense of, well, what funnels do you want to put them into? What media channels, whether it's social media, email campaign, YouTube channel, whatever other thing you're gonna reach them with.
So one of the things that we do, we have when they text, they get a response back. Instead of texting back their email address or texting back their name, because in that volley of text going back and forth, it's very easy to lose that thread of information. Something else comes up, somebody says hi to you in the room, and the flow of information stops. We get them to one landing page. We ask for an email address and a first name. That gets enough information to put them onto a mailing list.
Got it.
That mailing list now can start a drip campaign of whatever your product or service is. So the follow-up happens immediately. That's the email campaign, drip campaign is starting in the background. But what you were talking about specifically is may have had some high value to them. I've got five things that you should do today to change your life on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, if you want that list right now, text this code to this number. That's a high deliverable. They got what they wanted, and they got the instant gratification out of it. But in the background, you have a whole mailing campaign and drip campaign that just started.
Sure. And that's where the strategy comes in. So it's really being strategic with your business, having a plan, knowing that you can rest easy, that, okay, all I need to remember is tell them this code, then it's all taken care of. I mean, you put it sounds like your team can help put all those pieces in place for somebody.
We can. One thing we found over the last couple of years is that when we talk to people about their sales funnel, a lot of people did not have one. We can connect to yours. We're not trying to create anything where you have to reinvent the wheel on your back end. we play well with all the other sales funnels out there. But if you don't have one, we certainly can be a resource to help build that out for you.
Wonderful. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know you had some other tips you were going to share too.
Yeah. So the third tip is clarity is kindness. And so I've had, whether you're on a podcast and it's that final call to action of how do you get your information, a single call to action is kind. If you are pre-selling your book or selling your book from stage or podcast, and you start dropping breadcrumbs on how to get it from your website or from Amazon or any other platform, what I found in one seminar we were at, a guy had great content. Everybody wanted to order the book. 300 people went to their phone to go to Amazon, and they couldn't find the book because he spelled the title differently to be creative, but nobody could figure out how to find his book.
Oh no.
And so he missed the opportunity in a huge room. Had he had one call to action, it would have taken him to his book only. Even if you're a very well-known speaker and all you got to do is type in your name, how many other speakers will cross-market and tag? Let's say you're a speaker and you speak on things that Les Brown speaks on, and you put Les Brown's name in your keywords. Your book is going to come up in that list that you search if you're searching for him. There's no other distraction this way. It's only your book, only the book that you want to promote at that moment.
I find that to be true even for like, well, my name's spelled different, Leisa Reid. So one positive is that people can usually find me on social media if they know how to spell my name, because I don't get lost in the crowd, right? Versus if it was Lisa. Now there is an actress who spells her name the exact same way, and first and last name the exact same way. Ironically, I own LeisaReid.com. She doesn't, but she probably doesn't need a website. Anyway, so
you're the marketer.
Yeah, she's taken care of. She's good. But that was something that was new when I got married, because I mean I didn't have this last name. I wasn't born with this last name. But certainly your point is really valid, because I don't, like, say if I'm on a podcast and there's no visual, people might just be listening and not read how to spell my name, so I have up till now, I'll send them to my website or something like that. But I'm really enjoying what you're saying, because I'm like, yes, even though I know that's true, there's times where I even at the beginning of this show, I'll offer two different things, but they're two completely unrelated things. So I'm like, I gotta ask Doug, is this a good idea? Should I be doing that? You probably have some opinions about that. So I can already see it.
Yeah.
I've worked with Doug in the past. Full disclosure, everybody. So I already know. I know what he's gonna say. But I think it's a really good point for speakers. Those are who usually I'm working with more than podcasters. But to have that clear, I can relate, the clear call to action. What is it going to be? And that's, in fact, one of the things that I coach people on. We spend actually an enormous amount of time clarifying how they can monetize their message. And I share with them, like, you want to have a menu of choices, but you're not going to give the whole menu out when you speak. That's a behind the scenes thing. Like, that's a menu for you only. Yes. So that you know what to pick from. Like, oh, I'm speaking at this thing, and these are the parameters. I'm going to pick this item off the menu, and then I'm going to deliver that menu item.
Yes.
You don't do the Chinese menu where there's like so many different choices.
Yeah. It's not. You can put hours into preparing for a presentation, and if you don't have a clear call to action, you've wasted a lot of hours. Yes.
That's another thing I spend time on. It's like, so we're also on the same page. We talk, one of the sessions I do is called Get Your Talk Ready to Rock. And which is why partially one of the reasons I call the show Rock Your Talk, because we need to find the thread. Usually speakers have focused so much on their content and wanting to really deliver all their expertise. I'm like, listen, you have a half an hour, maybe, right? Depending on what your talk is about, what the schedule is. Mm-hmm. You're not going to share your decades of experience in a half an hour. That's not what it's for. We just have to pinpoint the things. Anyway, we could talk about this for a while because we both love this sort of thing. But so I think you had a bonus tip you were going to share with us too.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're finding is that because everybody's going in such a virtual meeting place platform now,
Mm-hmm.
is that we don't have the opportunity to hand somebody our business card. And so it creates another task that needs to be done. But when somebody says, well, how can I get in touch with you? One of the things that we've created is I have on my phone just this one little button down here. So while we're talking, I can pull up one of my different business cards. I would open up the Text Me Leads business card, and I would simply say, well, what's your cell number? Let me send it to you, all my information right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to get a text. That link is going to open up a page that has, it's branded for me. It has all my social media information in it. It has a downloadable card that will automatically load all my contact information into your phone. And then it has a call to action. So I may have a sizzle reel on there to get people excited about an event that's coming up. I may have a button to call. I don't know if you saw that, Lightning,
that was the
but we have a
elephant in the room.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
that's
2:30.
right.
It's time for a storm.
Oh no.
So
Wow.
no, we're good. So I can have a call button to get them onto a schedule. There's a whole lot of things that we can do in doing that. And that virtual card is so simple to send out. And it's very impressive because it's not just, well, they texted me their phone number, and all that's doing is more work for you and the opportunity for something to be misspelled. And now the link doesn't happen, because I know I've sent people my cell number or an email address and made a mistake and had to send it again to correct
I've done that too.
So yeah.
Wow. And so I know you mentioned it earlier, but just in case people weren't catching, how do they get a hold of you, or what's their next step that they take?
Your next step is to simply grab your cell phone, start a text message, and you want to send a text message to 55678. Real easy number, 55678. And the message you're going to send me is TML for Text Me Leads.
So you do 55678, and then you do TML.
Correct. Send that.
Already in my phone. See how cool is that? And then you hit. There you go. Oops. See, now here's a good thing. It did an autocorrect. It said Tom. So I'm going to do TML again. So now apparently I'm linked up with Tom. Tom, good job on Tom there. He's probably getting.
There we go.
Okay.
So make sure. Grab that keyword just in case.
Yeah, you should. It's already taken by this gentleman, but that's okay. He's probably one of your clients. So, so that's really how fast it works. It's like quick, right? And then now I'm going to be getting those tips and things from Doug, but even more powerful, when you learn how to do the system and you have Doug help you, it's already all done and taken care of. No more like typing in data and like, cause right now on virtual, like I was giving a presentation earlier this morning, and everyone puts their information in the chat box. And then I'm like, then you got to save the chat, you can put this in here and whatever. If you want them to, find you, you're relying on them doing that. So this is a great tool that you can use now virtually in our virtual networking. Yeah.
I think
really
it is.
Good. Yeah. Well, of course. Yes. So I have one final question for you. It does not have anything to do with what we talked about so far, but our show is called Rock Your Talk. I'm a huge music fan. I love music from lots of different decades. So my question to you is, what's one of your top rock bands or rock singers that you could listen to in any situation? Like, what do you love?
Oh my, top rock. So it's in the rock form. There's so many.
That's why I said.
I grew up on
some of your favorites.
I grew up on Foreigner. I grew up on Boston.
Yes. I love 80s. You gotta love the 80s.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean on Boston a little bit.
Okay. I was gonna see Foreigner this summer, but did not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people didn't see anybody.
No, everything got canceled. We were gonna see Foreigner. We were gonna see Alanis Morissette as well.
Uh-huh.
I can't even remember where else, but usually I go to like 4 or 5 concerts each summer. So maybe next year I'll have to put it in though for you. Put it on my playlist for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Doug, for sharing all your tips. I hope this was helpful for our listeners. Anything you can do to make your business easier, more automated, means that you can serve more people or just take a break. You don't less time data entry and chasing leads. You just sit back and let the system work for you, and you can go have a margarita or whatever you want to do.
That's right.
All right. I'm going to, for all those listeners out there, make sure you're kind to yourself and just kind to somebody else too. I'll talk to you soon.